It is 7 o'clock on Thursday, September 14th. This is the regular city council meeting for the city of Alburnett. I will go ahead and call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise and join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for that. And I will go ahead and do a roll call. Councilor Myers.
Here.
Councilor Schantz.
Here.
Councilor Bozenberg.
Here.
Councilor Trum. Let the record reflect that Councilor West is absent, but we do have a quorum to conduct business tonight. With that, I would seek a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Bozenberg.
Second.
Second by Myers. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. I do not believe we have a sheriff's report. It may have come in Chris's absence. We will get that emailed out. So we're going to skip past the sheriff's report to item 6, which is mayor's report. I do have several things tonight. First and foremost, just a reminder that the city election filing period ends on September 21st at 5 p.m. That is the last opportunity to file your paperwork at the Lynn County Auditor's Office. If anyone is interested, we have 3 available council seats. For the digital sign, you won't see it on your agenda tonight. I just wanted to give this group an update that we did send out the letters for the forum with the nonprofits. We are collecting responses through tomorrow with who will be attending those. I currently have 6 responses, and I think we sent about 15 letters. So pretty decent response, and I'm excited. So what they're doing is they're letting us know who their designee is, and then we gave them about 6 different date and time options for when we can hold the meeting. It will be held virtually, and they're letting me know their availability. And right now I do have 100% availability for one of the dates, so I'm pretty excited that we'll be able to get everybody there for that. So that is progressing right along. What you also don't see on the agenda is regarding Willow Street. So that was on our agenda a few months ago, and then we had a crowd here last month voicing their concerns. We are continuing to gather data, so we have the speed sign sitting there right now, and so we're gathering information. One thing I did want to bring to council's attention is that I looked at our ordinance, and in order to make a speed limit change, it's going to take more than a resolution. We would actually, if we were to change the speed limit, we would have to do an engineering study and a speed study on that street. So we'll see what the data shows, if that's something that we wanted to pursue, but there would be dollars involved there. Whereas I believe what we've ordered right now for signs is just kind of a warning that to slow down on the curve. You see those out like in the country where it's just yellow. Doesn't actually change the speed limit, but it indicates that they should slow down. We can do that by resolution. So I'm fully prepared to do that. With Chris being out of the office, we were going to hold that till October. So he will be preparing that resolution. We do have the signs ordered and on hand already. So that is the update on Willow Street. Next is pertaining to golf carts. So I've been receiving several complaints. I would like to do a reminder right now to the public on the limitations of the ordinance. You must be 16 years old, a valid licensed driver to drive a golf cart within the city of Alburnett. They're not allowed out after dark, so it is sunrise to sunset are the hours for golf carts. And they are not allowed on the main thoroughfares in town, so they should not be on Main Street or Roosevelt, though they can cross at designated intersections. I'm receiving complaints of underage drivers. They are on private property doing donuts. I got a complaint actually right before this meeting of them driving down a sidewalk. Underage drivers in a golf cart on a sidewalk. So it's getting out of hand. I will tell council I'm going to be working with staff to see what mitigating factors we could put in place, whether it's a registration process so that we have not plate numbers but sticker numbers that then we could issue, citations, or I'm trying to think of the right word, it won't come to mind right right now, but yes, so that we can follow up and ensure that rules are being followed. Honestly, if it gets much worse, we may just have to talk about whether we revoke that as an ordinance, which I don't think will make a lot of people very happy since they've invested in their carts. So I urge you, if you have a golf cart, please follow the rules, because we are now looking.
Please yourselves.
Yes, absolutely. The last thing on my list is regarding nuisance, so it is something else I will be, while this is an ongoing, something that we monitor, I am gonna get with staff when Chris is back, and so that we do a push before winter, and just make sure any existing nuisance gets cleaned up before the weather turns, because that's probably right around the corner. So if you see any, if there's any you want us to go out and take a look at, please let City Hall know. All right, that is my mayor's report. We'll move on to council reports. I will start with Councilor Drum.
Nothing to that.
Councilor Rosenberg?
Yeah, the only thing I gotta bring up, I'd like to see the shoulders get mowed. Like going after the foundation in Northtown, they're starting to get up right on the top of the shoulders, there's a lot of weeds. Make it look a little nicer.
Perfect. We are under mowing contract through October, so.
So I don't know, they haven't mowed them, they haven't mowed off the top, they just mowed them in the bottom, it'd be nice they, so somebody could trim some of that off. So.
Okay. Councilor Shawns?
I think that our crew has done well in getting things in place as far as our parking, painted, bicycle racks up, our bar up. They're making it look nice. That's it.
Councilor Myers?
Do we have any idea of the progress that they're making on the machine shop, the garage over here? Just the dirt work around there is a bit of an eyesore. I don't know where they are in the construction project, how close they're going to be come winter, but I didn't know if anyone had addressed that or not.
Timely question. So we have been in contact with the property owner. He actually was in here tonight before the
Oh,
meeting.
that was it.
That was
Okay.
him, yep. So we've urged him to continue to give us updates, which he did say that we'll see some progress here in the next week, so.
Okay.
Yes, Chris, it is one thing Chris is making sure is addressed, because it's on our main street and we just want to keep everything looking nice. Absolutely. Anything else, sir?
That is it.
All right. Next item on the agenda is citizen comments. We have no citizens, so I'm going to go ahead and skip that. And we move on to written reports. So the first is from the fire department. In reading through it, so this is going to be starting on page 2 of your packet. In reading through, we do have a couple of trucks that are going to need some repair, one of which they're waiting until Central City gets their tanker back, just so from a mutual aid standpoint. And I believe the other is 135, which is what we just purchased from Hiawatha, so they've kind of been tracing a minor leak on that. But otherwise, everything else is in order. Any questions on fire report that I can pass off to the chief? Well, if you think of any, send those over.
We're getting a lot of data from them that we never got before, which is good.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to read through the minutes and,
Madam Mayor, where do we stand with the defib lawyers that we were gonna get from the fire department, go to the school? How's that work?
that is actually sitting with me right now, so Chris drafted the letter and I wanna make a few changes to it.
Okay.
So I'll be getting to that shortly and then, that donation. Great question. Alright, next is from city administrators. You've got public works, clerk, and treasury. The only thing to note for public works is I believe in here it mentions that they'll begin flushing fire hydrants. That has been completed, so Dalton worked on that this week.
Probably could water my grass.
Right. But I think everything else is pretty well in order. The clerk has a conference coming up the 20th through the 22nd. One thing I did ask him to note on his report, the keys for Old City Hall were returned to the landlord on August 22nd. We had committed by August 31st, so we got those turned in early.
I've got one yet.
Okay, we got most of them turned in.
They told
I'm
me
sure
just-
there's a few floating around.
They just told me to throw it away, so.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a few floating around. Okay, any questions on the city administration reports that I may be able to help answer? Alright. That moves us to item number 10, which is approval of the consent agenda. One thing to note for the minutes, what got published in the paper, there were a couple of typos. It was copy and paste errors where words just ended up where they shouldn't have. So you are seeing the clean copy. No action or nothing substantial was changed. We just cleaned up some of those typos. And then we are working on a new format for the minutes just to help make it easier to repeat rather than having to copy and paste quite as much. And so we're hoping to clean some of that up. And then you're also going to notice in my direction under citizen comments, we did start abbreviating what gets discussed by citizens. So we essentially highlight what they were here to address, but leave out any dialogue. We've had several requests for amendments, which does incur cost to the city to put those in the paper. And additionally, we record these meetings so people can go back and get the full dialogue. So we are recording what they addressed the council with, but at my instruction, we are limiting the amount of dialogue that we include in the minutes. So with that, I would look for approval of the consent agenda.
So move.
Moved by Chance,
Second.
second by Trum. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. All right, that takes us all the way to page 23 would be the cover page. But first, we're going to talk about trick or treat day. This is normally something we do in October. Generally, by our meeting time in October, parents are already asking, and so I wanted to get it on the September agenda so we can go ahead and set our trick or treat date. Historically, we do October 31st from 5 to 7 p.m. That happens to be a Tuesday this year, so I will leave that to pleasure of the council.
I say we stick with it. It works out. It's not something that goes too late. So people are able to.
Put that in motion.
I don't have a problem with that.
I move that we have it on October 31st from 5 to 7 p.m. for
Second.
trick or treat.
Motion by Myers, second by Trum. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries. All right, 11B, consideration of the street finance report. So this is it actually starts on page 25. This is a state-required report just to show how much funding went towards streets for maintenance and bond payments and those types of things. So I will say, I have a few pages printed here. Our expenses totaled $317,940. And our revenues were $308,349. So we were within $9,000 of our, between revenues and expenses, which is pretty darn good. And then just a quick update. We do have an outstanding GO bond for Muthart Street. And the principal balance by the end of fiscal year '23 was $380,000. So we paid that down at the beginning of the fiscal year, it was $435,000. So we are paying principal on that GO bond as well. Any questions on the street finance report? All right, hearing none, I would would seek a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion, we approve the street finance report.
Motion by Bozenberg,
Second.
second by Shantz. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries. All right, next item on the agenda is the annual finance report. Scroll, that is on, starts on page 32 is your cover page. 33 is the actual information. I know this is probably quite small, so I will say, again, I'm fortunate enough to have a printed copy, that for our revenues, we had budgeted $1,335,971, and we came in at $1,647,149. A lot of that is, the difference there is the grant funding that we received last year, so that's very exciting that we were ahead of budget on revenues. And then for expenses, we budgeted $1,528,348, and our actual was $1,638,300. So we were within $100,000, and again, that can be accounted for in the City Hall project and the grant funding that we received. So if you actually, we received $147 for the grant. So if you take that portion out, we were actually under budget for last year, which is a good news story. Any questions on the financial report? I will also talk about our fund balance. So the beginning fund balance on July 1 of 2022 was $1,686,576, and the ending fund balance was $1,695,425. So a difference of about $9,000 to the positive. Any questions? If so, I'm going to tell you to talk to Chris when he's back tomorrow. It all looks good. He did run this by Clerk Books just to make sure everything they saw was balancing out. And also shared with me that our new support rep with Clerk Books was an actual clerk for, I believe, 13 years. So she's got wonderful experience to be able to kind of help take a glance at these things for us. If there's no comments, I would look for a motion to approve the annual finance report.
So moved.
Moved by Shantz, second by Trum. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries. All right, you are probably gonna go all the way to page,
It looks like 45.
yeah, it's down there.
43?
Yeah, 43 from Raycom.
Okay.
So these are repeater quotes. So you've got two quotes. You've got one from Raycom and one from RC Systems. The reason for the repeater, this is for our CB radios that we have in the trucks, and I believe we also have a couple of handhelds. And it was noted, especially during some of the snowstorms last year, that the range of those radios does not stretch the entirety of town, and therefore, if they needed to get a hold of each other, if they're out of range, they, according to DOT, cannot be operating cell phones, so they really should be using the radios.
Oh, that's a rule, huh?
Yeah, headset only if they're using a cell phone, but for anything commercial. So the radio really is the best route for communication, and as we saw with derecho, cell phones go down, the radios will be more reliable in any kind of disaster that we may have, and so we are having limited range, so we are looking at installing a repeater here at City Hall that would broaden that range and allow coverage for all of town. With that, it also, we would need to get licensing for channel, it's in here. That's what the last page is. So we would need to get an additional CD transmitter license, because this,
Okay.
this creates another channel. So, any questions on the why before we talk about the quotes?
I have a question.
Yes.
On page 48, there's a map. Can you explain what that refers to?
That is the coverage that will be, that will have, it's difficult to read.
But basically, these things will cover most of Clinton County, Jones County, then?
No, I think we may have to get it, the color copy,
Yeah,
because it was just in town, I think.
yeah, I think each of those dots represents a tower, and I'm guessing that there's a
That's
color
just that
coding that
local-
goes around those towers to show the actual area.
Okay.
Yeah, we are really only looking to cover city limits.
Okay. And then on page 49,
That's that additional certification that we'll need for this extra channel. So we're licensed right now, and then this adds, it is included in both quotes.
we need something additional or renew this?
I believe it's additional, because it adds another channel, so we have like a short range and a long range
Okay.
channel. So we need to have the license or the permit
Okay.
for both. The permit is included in both quotes, so there's no additional fee for that. You just included it as an awareness.
There are a lot of things on those quotes that I can't compare one to the other than the total dollar. Are they sufficiently comparable?
Yes, they are apples to apples.
Do we have any experience with either of these companies or know someone that has?
Yep, we use Raycom for fire department. And I do know that much of Lynn County uses Raycom for their radio
Are they the
systems.
cheapest?
Okay.
They are.
5,000 something.
Okay.
Their cheapest by almost $200.
So you can see line number 2 on the Raycom quote is the FCC license to add the repeater input frequency. So that is included in the quote.
Raycom 7,000.
Raycom is $5,774.10, and the RC Systems is,
72.
72 something.
yeah, $7,289. So Chris did recommend that we go with Raycom.
And do we need a motion to do that?
How many radios would that be?
This is just adding the repeater.
Just-
So we've already got radios in the trucks, and I think we have 2 handhelds.
Okay.
So this just adds the coverage.
So do we need to do a motion this month, or is this just for discussion?
That is pleasure of the council. It could definitely wait, if you wanted to wait. I think we have everything we need to move ahead with the motion, unless you wanted a different quote or had questions that I can't answer. And I'm sure we can get a representative here if we needed to.
I want to move forward with a motion. I mean, if we wait till next month, you're starting to get into November. Who knows what their contracts look like and how late they're in the season they're wanting to work and what the weather's gonna be like, so.
You were gonna say it can snow in November. And that was-
I'm not gonna say that. Not.
That's true, it has snowed in October.
Well, I think as long as we've been going with this company and we're happy with them, they've got the lowest bid, why,
Yeah. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to that effect.
Go with Raycom.
I've got a motion to approve the quote from Raycom for $5,774.10 for a repeater.
Second.
Motion by Sean, second by Trum. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Old business, so we're through with the packet, we're down to old business. All we have on here is the park update. So this is the park out by the new fire station. It has been graded and seeded. The engineer that we approved at the last meeting is working on the plans based on the rendered drawings from the committee that Chris put together, so their feedback was super helpful. And then we actually had drawings rendered from, there's a student from Iowa State who is an Alburnett resident, who's going to school for this type of thing, and he rendered the drawings. And so thank you, Xander, very, very much. And I will tell you that we got phenomenal feedback from HR Green on the drawings, so very excited to be moving ahead with that project. So we won't see much more progress this year. Our goal was to grade and seed, and then we will start construction next year if we can get the plans solidified.
Will there be a rendering available to put up in City Hall in case people want to come in and take a look?
Yes, so HR Green was taking what Xander started. Xander didn't have access to elevation measurements, so HR Green is putting that together, but Xander gave them a very good start.
Okay.
So, yep, we will have all of that available. All the more reason that construction is gonna hold off until next year. We'll get some more feedback and we can make adjustments as well. I am also impressed that Dalton is able to grow grass in both of these areas. He's been doing a fantastic job, and it's about the only green place in town, so.
Is there any more discussion about big ears of corn, big stalks of corn out there?
I believe so, yes. So we're looking to do something a little unique.
Okay, great.
Any other questions on the park update?
No, but comment, we've talked about a park out there for several years, and it was my impression that when they have some kind of trail out there, that, there was no really thought out or definitive plan, so this is great to see this attacked in this method.
Yeah, well, and I've seen several events this summer that I think would benefit from a space like this, to have, a nice area with a pavilion and green space, and I think we're gonna be able to do a lot of things. All right, with that, final comment, I'll start with Councilor Myers.
If you need to file. As far as I know, when I took my papers down, I was the only person who had filed. So,
That's good.
Councilor Shantz?
I have no intention of filing anything.
Right, so you heard it here, there will be a vacant seat.
He's not gonna be a write-in either.
No, not accepting that write-in this year?
Hopefully not.
Let's hope not, let's hope we can get a third candidate.
I'd like to not do it.
How
Not that I don't enjoy doing it, but I've had enough.
How many years?
Well, if I go clear back to before I was mayor, 29 years.
You deserve a break.
So I think somebody else needs an experience.
Mm-hmm.
You want me to be the old man there?
we'll give you a break on this election cycle and pick you up on the next one.
Yeah.
See you in 4 years.
But isn't that I haven't enjoyed it, because I am. And people have been nice to work with, by and large, mostly.
Councilor Rosenberg?
No, no further question.
Councilor Chapman?
No, nothing.
All right. With that, I seek a motion to adjourn.
So we move to adjourn.
Moved by Rosenberg,
Second.
second by Myers. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned.
I guess this